Good evening and welcome to TCSRL. It is Wednesday night and we are here ready for some racing. And this week we are at one of my favourite tracks of all time, which is the Nurburgring Grand Prix. Prefer the Nordschleife if I'm being honest, gentlemen, but we'll take the Grand Prix track as a very close second, but a fantastic circuit and certainly one of my absolute favourites. We are joined this week, as usual, by Aaron Markin and Matty Heaton. Welcome, gentlemen. Just before we get into the stuff, I just want to apologise for us all missing last week. Obviously, life sometimes gets in the way and work commitments and everything else, so we do apologise for having missed the racing last week, but obviously we are here now and we are ready to go. Yeah, let's get into it. Gentlemen, how are you? Aaron, first of all, how's things, mate?
Everything's good. Everything's fine and dandy. Looking forward to another good night of sim racing.
I mean, that's what we're hoping for, Matty, as always, mate.
Absolutely, I'm really looking forward to Nurbs. It's one of my favourite tracks to drive. Not the Nordschleife. I can't say I've done that. A bit too long for my liking, but Nurbs is a beautiful, beautiful track.
As some ladies would say, there's no such thing as too long. But anyway, I digress. Right, we're here for Nurbs. So we've had a week's worth of racing, which obviously we've missed. Apologies for that. You boys have seen the results. Anything stand out, Aaron, from the result sheets that you saw, or was it pretty much as you would have expected in terms of the top of the field? A couple of DNFs, I think we had as well.
Yeah, that was the big standout for me. A double DNF for Big Phil. So not good for his maybe sort of long shot championship hopes, but I suppose on the flip side that's going to be lower ballast for Nurburgring, so could see something good from him here.
Absolutely. And Matty, we've been having a bit of a discussion in the background about the tables being updated. The championship's still quite close and quickly at the top.
Yeah, the Drivers' Championship, you got George User and Stu Neal there with only 8 points between them, battling out for first and second. Poddy Flack doing really well in third. And I think that'll be down to Kerb Elijah. He had a DNF last week as well. And if I remember rightly, the week before, when we were here, he also had a DNF, and I think that's costing him.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's good to see that championship battle is still well on. And like I say, Poddy probably a bit of an outsider now because there's a fair gap. But George User and Stu Neal proper going for it at the top of the championship. Obviously, pretty much the same story in the Manufacturers' Championship as well. And the Independents, you got Carl Smith leading Rob South in that one as well. So, yeah, interesting to see that and how things are going. And now, for some reason, my tables won't go away. Anyway, what have I done? I've pressed the wrong button, that's why. Anyway, I wanted to go back to our screen. Sorry, you can tell you're a week off and you forget where all the buttons do on your setup. So it's always the way. All good
You've
fun.
also forgot to put your camera on. I don't know if that was intentional.
It is intentional for reasons that shan't be disclosed at this time. But yes, I'll put it on later. So yeah, we're here. A track that I was on pole position on way back when, and still didn't win the race because I had a terrible start. Way back in season 1 of TCSRL when I was still a driver in my younger years. So I do absolutely love this place. But it's got everything. It's got the tight, twisty stuff. It's got the long straights. It's a challenging driver's circuit, I would say, while also having that bit of a modern touch as well. I don't know, it's just got a bit of everything, I guess, Aaron, isn't it? And I think that's why we enjoy both watching and racing it.
Yep, we've run different layouts of this as well. We've done the full layout. We've done the DTM layout as well, I think, once upon a time. It's just the perfect balance. It's got sort of characteristics that suit every single car. So if your car's good on the brakes but rubbish in the corners, that's fine. It works here. If you've got a car that's fast in a straight line, that's great. Sector 3 is pretty much all a straight line. So you can have pretty good battles as well. You know, the track's pretty wide. You can run 2 cars through a lot of it as well. So fairly big runoff areas. It's basically, it just promotes everything that you would associate with touring car racing, which is why I think it is a driver favourite.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. What I will say, Matty, is like as much as I adore this track, for cars like these, Sector 1 front wheel drive, it's going to be a killer for that, particularly that front right tyre. A couple of those long medium speed left corners towards the start of the lap. Yeah, going to be a bit of a nightmare for the drivers to keep the tyres in play.
Yeah, absolutely. My experience here is in a GT car in ACC. Thoroughly enjoyable track, but what also doesn't help that I've found is turn 1. Even though it's a right-hander, you think that it'd be an issue for the left-hand front, but because it's a dip down and you're on the brakes as you're coming down into the apex, or at least I was. Maybe I was doing it wrong. Every time the right tyre was slightly coming up into the air. I don't know if it's going to be the same for these Tourers, but it then means that I'm on the brakes and it's coming back down onto the track and it's locking up the wheel, which is then causing issues with the tyre and adding to that tyre wear, so that's going to make it even worse.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, I know we've said it a few times, but all of these races are an unknown for us, so that's why we keep saying it, but we don't know. Is the BMW going to be strong here? Is the Audi going to be strong here? We just don't know. So it'll be really interesting to see how that unfolds, because it could be that the four-wheel drive or the rear-wheel drive systems do come into play here, Aaron, and you know, you could all of a sudden see a bit of an advantage for those guys.
You could also see the world's sickest drift as well in the bottom right corner. Yeah, you're rightly said though. I got completely distracted by that sideways Alfa Romeo there, but we simply don't know.
We simply don't know, indeed. Yeah, I did just catch a bit of smoke in the corner of my eye, and I was wondering what was going on there. Excellent. Right, let's head over to the racing, as there's just a few seconds left of the practice session before we get into qualifying itself. Probably expecting the usual suspects to be towards the front. I guess the question now is more becoming, I mean, Georges and particularly Georges, but obviously Georges and Stu Neal seem to manage really well with the ballast, and that's why they've managed to maintain that position at the top of the championship. But I guess for me, Matty, I'm curious to see, can someone like Poddy or another driver really get in a Curb-Leisure, get in amongst it at the front. I mean, Curb-Leisure we know is capable of it, but he's got to keep his race streak clean if he's going to get that championship battle back on. But yeah, are we going to see an unusual pole here, perhaps due to the layout of the circuit?
Quite potentially. I mean, it's literally just switched over to qualifying, so I've lost all my data from the practice times. But Curb-Leisure was up there with the fastest lap in practice, and Deeks and Poddy Flack weren't too far behind. I wouldn't be able to tell you the exact gap because unfortunately it disappeared just as you was asking me that question. But there is a good chance that we could see one of the guys that are just behind the top runners, if that would make sense without being too offensive.
It does, absolutely. So let us see. They are just on their warm-up lap now, getting some heat into the brakes and tyres before they will go for it. Do I have a volunteer to do the on-board lap this week, gentlemen? Don't fight amongst yourselves, please.
I'll take it. It's certainly not one that I've practiced, but it's a track that I know comfortable enough to try and wing my way through it.
I was about to say that. I stole the show 2 weeks ago, so it's Matty's go now.
No
you say
problem.
you stole the show, you have to volunteer, and I sat here very quietly letting you do it.
I mean, luckily it's a track I know so well. If neither of you had wanted to do it, I would have done it myself. But I'm more than happy to hand over to Matty, and we will do that as soon as we get the opportunity. Now, the guys, it's quite a long lap here. It's another one of our sort of post 2 minute lap times here. So 2 minute 4, 2 minute 3, 2 minute 4 we used to do in the TCs. These will probably be more like a 2.5 as they are a little bit slower. So, but still quite a long lap. So again, it's another one of those tracks where you're only going to get probably 6 qualifying laps in if you're lucky. We are coming just towards the point now where we can jump on board with Curb-Leisure as he goes through the final corner onto the start finish straight. And Matty, over to you. Well, I may say over to you. He's just got a long ass straight now, but yeah, over to you.
Thank you very much. It is quite a long run down to turn 1 from the final corner, getting as much speed as you possibly can. Me personally, I stay across the left hand side as much as possible, get on the brakes. Coming into the right hand side, it is quite a tight corner with that dip just there, and it can compromise if you don't get it right coming around to turn 2. You need to go all the way to the right. It can feel quite a long left-hander, but you need to get that throttle timing right to bring you back across to the right-hand side. This turn, it gets tighter as you go around, and you need to try and take it as tight as possible, because it's that immediate right-hand side. Try not to go too far to the right. There is a curve that will knock you off course. A little bit of a run down here, sticking to the right-hand side and braking just after these cones. Getting it across to the left-hand side. It's his first qualifying lap. You can take a little bit more curbing on that left-hand side. Long sweeping right-hander here, absolutely nailing the throttle for, again, quite a little bit of a run. I don't know if this counts as a turn, but it's flat out little bend. Keeping it to the left, getting on the brakes. Again, first qualifying lap, I'm not going to knock the fact that he's missing these apexes ever so slightly. It's really important to get that last corner right because you're uphill, it's foot flat. GTs, you take a little dab of brake in these Taurus. I'm not sure if it's flat out. You boys will be able to assist me on that one, I'm sure. Bringing it back across to the right-hand side. Getting on the brakes. Use plenty of curb here. You don't want to... It can pull you out to the right-hand side and cost you track limits. Long sweeping right-hander. Getting the foot down as much as you possibly can because it's a long run now. Slightly uphill. Fairly sure this is technically a turn. It's flat out in pretty much any car you were in. Coming up here, bringing it across to the right hand side. This is my favourite corner on the track. Very difficult to get right, but if you nail it, not like that, it is really satisfying. If you get it wrong, it can fly. You can just fly it anywhere. Coming up to the final corner, sorry. Long right-hander trying to get that apex right. Foot flat to the floor. It's not going to be a valid lap because unfortunately he did make a mistake on that chicane, but that is a lap of the Nurbs.
It is indeed, and according to my stream, we don't have one valid lap. Yeah, oh, we do. Stu Neal's done the first valid lap, which is a 2:07, so expecting that to get quicker. Thank you for that, Matty. Absolutely great stuff. The real challenge for these guys will be, as we saw, the fact that they've got the Grand Prix chicane, Aaron, at the end, not the lighter GT chicane. That's going to be a challenge for these guys.
Yep. Pretty unforgiving, but I think it's one that you're familiar with because I'm pretty certain we ran this when you got your pole. So just you got to be that little bit more tamer, but the curbs are raised, which is pretty good for these touring cars. You can actually abuse them. It's just a case of monitoring how far you cut them. I can't remember what the track limits are like on them, but I seem to remember you could cut one more than the other, you know, like out of the left and the right. We'll soon see. Time will tell as we watch the guys progress, but just as a quick sort of quali prediction, I'm predicting that Russ Butcher will have a good night tonight on the back of his race 3 win. I think he might have a bit of mojo, and I think we could see him rise up the standings, and I think if he does get a good qualifying, bodes really well for that BMW around here.
Absolutely, we should say congratulations on his first win in Super Taurus last week in race 3 reverse grid. You know, we did miss it, obviously, and I'm sure he still hasn't forgiven us for that. But nevertheless, congratulations. So Nick Papadim's currently with the pole time, 2/10 ahead of Poddy Flack. Nick's just coming towards the second half of the circuit at the moment. I think Poddy's a little bit further along. He is. So then you've got Craig Deacon, who is... oh, no, Kerbal's just taken the pole time with a 205.9, so everything's changed around now. So Deeks is now 4th, 8/10 off. So that has changed just in the last few moments. Boki Obradovic then in 5th place. Stu Neal is in 6th. Russ Butcher in 7th at the moment. Manuel Alves 8th. Sergio Cerez is in 9th, and Carl Smith rounding out the top 10. Most others have not yet set a valid lap time. So this is going to be a little bit like a roulette wheel going around and around. All these drivers are going to be changing positions and jumping up and down as they set faster laps. People like George and Phil Lawson, obviously quick pedalers, have not yet set a valid lap at all, so we're expecting them to pop up high up in the standings at some point. So let's see how it goes. So we are already halfway through, and that shows these guys have only actually done sort of one valid lap between them each, and that shows we're already halfway through the session, so they haven't got a lot of time to get many laps in, as we stated earlier. So let's see how they get on. Kirby's down on his fastest time so far in Sector 1, just setting a time now for Sector 2. It'll be interesting to see how much closer the guys can get. So the only person with real heavy ballast on steering wheel at the moment, 1.1 seconds off pole. So it'll be interesting to see when Georges does set a lap time, how close he gets, because that looks like, to me, on the face of it at least, Matty, that ballast is having quite a profound effect around this particular circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. When you've got the likes of Phil Lawson and Shaw struggling to set a lap time, and looking at the time, they are now going to start to maybe panic a little bit. They need to try and keep it calm. And I've just noticed that Shaw's users has just come back into the pits. So he's putting even more pressure on himself, and it's going to be a tricky night for him for the looks of it with that ballast.
Indeed. So Derek Neal has now set a time of 209.1. We have Carl Smith just ahead of that then, 208.6. Bit of a jump up then to the Mexican Sergio Perez. So yeah, quite a spread along the field as it looks, Aaron.
Yeah, just very quickly, Mike. It is Sergio Perez's birthday today, and he's asked for a live stream shout out. So happy birthday to the man in P10. But you are right, it does kind of spread out a little bit once we get to that P10 zone. There's, I think, just staring at a 1.3 to 2 second gap there. But we're saying that's a bit spread out, but the gap from 4th to 1st is 7/10. So I expect that these guys might go a little bit faster, but I can't see the field spread dramatically changing that much.
No, absolutely, and it is a long track, as we've said. So you know, you are going to have that bigger difference in time from pole to not pole. So let us take a look. So it's just over 5 minutes left now. So it's still Kirby out in front. He's got 3.5 tenths over Nick Pap. And Phil Lawson puts in the pole, provisional pole time, 205.865. So Phil Lawson to the top of the timesheets there, just ahead now, just over a tenth of a second ahead of Kirby, and he's gone straight in the pits and thought, I'm done. I cannot better that at this time. And Georges has put his lap time in there, so he's currently third. Great to see Volvo getting a bit of success, because it has been a very alpha-centric season, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, absolutely. When you look at the top 4, I believe, in the championship, they're all alphas. Obviously, Phil did miss a few rounds, I believe, but he's come back, and he's come back with a vengeance as well. He's been putting some fantastic laps in as I run out of breath because I forget to breathe, apparently. Yeah, he's been putting some fantastic laps in. I will get my tongue in my mouth. And he's been racing really well since he's coming back, so it's good to see that Volvo pushing those alphas as much as he can.
Absolutely. Deeks was in the pits. He's just gone back out now for another final run. By the time he gets around, he should just have time to complete a lap, hopefully. Russ Butcher is in the pits now, so I think that is probably about it from Russ.
I don't think he will, mate, because once it gets to 0, you're gone, aren't you? And it's a 2-minute 5 lap.
Yes, very true. I'm just wondering, I didn't know if the timing line was right towards the beginning, but I suppose it's right in the middle. Yeah, no, you're right, you probably won't make it. I'm just bad at maths today. I've had a long day in work. Andy Foster currently 5 seconds off the pace with a 2:11.1. Lava Lemon is now in the on the grid, sorry, but he will not get a lap time in time, but he's just getting a bit of practice in, and will start from the back of the grid. So Phil Lawson trying to better his time, Kerbalija trying to better his time to get that pole position. George used an impressive 0.237 away from pole with maximum ballast, so cracking lap from him. Great to see Nick Pappadin back towards the front of the grid. He's not had the best of seasons by his standards. Former race winner within this series, so hopefully he'll have a good night tonight. Buki Abramovich then having a good night. He's currently in 6th. Stu Neal 7th, 6 tenths off, so struggling a little bit with his ballast. Poddy Flack then just behind him. Craig Diggs in 8th, Butcher in 9th, and Rob South in 10th. So that rounds out your top 10. Just over 2 minutes left now, so these guys just crossing the line now will be okay. We'll stay with Phil Lawson a minute and see if he can improve on his time. Can he extend that gap? Most other drivers now have gone into the pits, so people who are on a lap are Lawson, Obradovic, and I don't know if Deeks did not make it to the line in time, so he probably won't get to finish that lap. But let's keep an eye on Phil Lawson and see if he can improve on his current 205.865. Oh, he's went a little bit wide there. I'm not sure if he would have breached track limits or not, but it looks like he might have got away with it because he's carried on. But we will see. Yeah, he must have got away with it, otherwise he would have packed it in by now. But here he is. Takes a great line there through the right-hander, downhill now towards the hairpin. It's just a constant sort of left. It doesn't look anywhere near as dramatic in the cars or it does off camera. That corner, you don't really feel the corner there at all. Really, it's just like a little kink, but it looks a lot more dramatic off camera. So he's 10th down in the first sector on his best time, so I can't see that he's going to improve, but he's still going for it. We'll stick with it. It's just over 50 seconds to go. Just waiting for his sector 2 time to come up now to see if he is has managed to crawl that 10th back that he's lost in the first sector, but let's see what pops up. It's a very long middle sector here and then like a very short last sector, but no, he's lost even more time. But you can make a lot of time up in that chicane just by being aggressive if you get it right. So he could have made up a couple of tenths here, but he doesn't, and he goes to the pits, and that's it.
Yeah, you see him come through that chicane, and he took the curb a little bit too much. I think his car bounced quite violently there, and he must have known that was it.
Yep.
Yeah, he was definitely pushing hard, I think, trying to get that lap in, which is fair enough. He already had the pole, so why not push hard and try and better it? But congratulations, I believe that's Phil's first pole position of the season, but I've slept a few times since all the races, so I may well have forgotten, but I think it is his first pole, so congratulations to Phil. Kerbalija with a fantastic second, Georges a very impressive third, especially on this track with all that ballast. Nick Pappadin not far behind. He'll be a danger as the race goes on. He's carrying very little ballast today. So an interesting grid, and a lot of drivers that tend to get stronger as the race goes on a little bit further back, so it bodes well for a bit of good racing. And some drivers get good starts as well, people like Russ, Butcher, Carl Smith in different configuration cars, forward drive, rear wheel drive. They'll be interesting to watch off the start. So yeah, so that's where we ended up, gentlemen. Any big surprises there for you, Matty, or is that pretty much what you expected to see?
I don't know why, but I had a feeling Deeks would be a little bit higher than he is. In 8th position on the grid, I do believe, if I'm looking at it correctly. I had a feeling he'd be a little bit higher up. He's had some fantastic racing so far this season, but we'll never know. In the race trim, he may be able to push through.
Yeah, he has been very strong this season, to be fair. Especially he missed the first round, I think, with holidays, and has hit the ground running. Really, he's always been sort of 5th, 6th, hasn't he? And he's grabbed a couple of podiums and things. So yeah, he's definitely been there and thereabouts. But yeah, interesting. We will see if he can make progress in the race. So the warm-up is finishing now, so we're just waiting for the server to reset into the formation lap. Here we go. As I say it, it happens. anything to look out for in this race, Aaron? Like, I'm just thinking of things like, is it easy to draft and therefore, keep yourself in touch with the car in front around you? Obviously, we haven't got things like DRS like you get in Formula One, but you can still get an effect from slipstreams and stuff. There's a lot of straights here. I'm wondering, is there anything there that we can look out for to give us some racing action?
Yep, keep an eye for all the guys with ballast trying desperately hard to stay in the draft. It's a massive, massive help to them, and that's the only way they're going to stay in the battle.
Excellent. We will keep an eye out for that. So we are getting ready now, and it's green light and foot flat on the floor, and away we go down towards the first corner. Phil Lawson gets a decent start. He just stays ahead there of Kerbledger. They look about tiny toy cars a million miles away at the moment because we're down in turn one. Why it chooses that camera angle, I do not know, but it does. But Phil Lawson doing a great job there. But George User getting up the inside of Kerbledger. He gets a position, and Kerbledger pushed really wide. No, sorry, that was Nick Pappadin getting pushed wide. Sorry, they're all have red alphas. It's almost impossible. So Phil Lawson then from George User, from Kerbledger, from Nick Pappadin, from Bradvich at the moment. Bradvich makes up another position with Nick Pappadin dropping back there. Side by side, these two. And Abramovich just gives a position, and Pappadin gets back through up into fourth. So great start there from Lawson. Already getting a bit of legs on George. So George User up to second, Kerbledger down to third, but drafting his Alfa Romeo teammate. He's right up on there, and we said about potentially other configurations having a great start, and look at Russ Butcher, 3 positions gained off the start, and he's already threatening a fourth, and there he goes up into the hairpin. Fantastic move there. Up he goes into 5th position. Great start from Russ there. That's exactly the type of thing we were talking about. Poddy Flack following him through as well. He's trying to hang on to the back of him now. He's where he started, but he hasn't lost any positions, and that's important. He is carrying a little bit of ballast, but not as much as some of the guys ahead of him. So can he make progress? We will see. So Phil Lawson now with a 0.4 gap ahead of George User, and then Kerbledger right up his back bumper. From Pappadin, from Butcher now, as we say, in 5th, but under huge pressure from Poddy Flack. Are we going to see a move here into the chicane? You'd be very brave. Oh, there's been contact. Not sure how that happened. It looked a bit like race room physics to me. Rush just sort of darted right to get the better angle on the corner, and Poddy Flack gets an eyeful, and he's gone.
I'm not sure if that was. I'll go back to this little ding dong we've got here for second place. All 3 of them ducking and weaving coming down to turn 1.
They are. It's Kerbledger's got back up into second in that. Sorry, it's so hard to tell.
I press that replay button.
I did for the crash, yes, but like with this, like I say, there's just 3 red alphas. I just can never tell which one's bloody which. So I can't tell who's overtaking who at the other time. But what this battle
why
is,
I refer to them as these boys.
Yeah, exactly.
No idea who was who.
What more can you do? Boys, pick some different cars next season. Well, we're going back to TC next season, so we'll be fine because there'll be lots of different liveries. Anyway, what this battle is doing is allowing Phil Lawson just to get that little bit of a breathing space. So he's got a second gap now out in front as we are about halfway through lap 2. So Lawson ahead of Kerbledger. George User is in 3rd now, back where he started. Nick Pappadin, where he started, is, and then you've got Russ Butcher in 5th. So that is your top 5. Russ under a bit of pressure from Stu Neal now. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if that turns into a proper battle. But once again, there's a battle between 3 or 4 red alphas. It's pretty much every week. But it's been fantastic. It's been great racing. Just wish we could paint a couple of them white or blue or something. That would be fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I know we only have a brief glimpse of that, Aaron, but what did you make of that issue with Poddy? Did you see anything I didn't, I guess is what I'm asking?
It was hard to tell whether that was race room physics or whether there was just an outbreak from the Volvo of whoever it was that knocked Poddy. It was hard to tell if that was like a massive bump from behind or if that was just 2 cars getting sort of caught on each other's wheel arches.
Anything in the data, Matty, that you can see?
It was Boki Obradovic that also went off in the exact same moment. Obradovic behind Poddy. Not entirely sure, obviously, from the angle we had, it's difficult to tell. But Obradovic also went off, flying off the opposite direction at the exact same time as Poddy. So I do wonder whether Poddy's got on the brakes more than Obradovic, and Obradovic has shunted him at the back end and they're both gone off.
Yeah, potentially. It's just the angle was the way it was. It just looked like he was sort of tagged on his front. He went off, but what you're saying makes absolute perfect sense. So maybe that was the case. I'm sure we'll get a debrief from the drivers after the race. Now that gap out in front is getting eked down slowly but surely. Kirby is closing that gap on Phil Lawson, but Phil, you know, he's an experienced driver. He'll just be taking his time out in front there. His fastest lap's 3/10 slower than Kirby, but obviously he's got the pace. He got himself on the pole, so be interesting to see how he gets on now with the remaining 9 minutes or so of this race. Our birthday boy, Prix, is currently in 9th position, 4 positions gained. A couple of DNFs have helped with that, but nonetheless, a couple of positions gained despite of that. And he's battling away for 8th position with Rob South at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that battle as well. Stu Neal getting proper close with Russ Butcher. Check this out. Let's jump on the front wing. Oh, I thought he was going to have a look there, but he just thinks better of it. I think they've probably seen that incident with Poddy into this chicane and thought, let's not do anything silly here. And the gap out in front, I tell you what, that has closed right down as well. And all of a sudden, a lap ago, that was over a second, and now it is less than 2/10 of a second. And suddenly, Phil Lawson under pressure, Matty.
Yeah, I was just trying to have a look, and both of their last laps were invalid. I was keeping an eye as they came over the line, so they're both pushing incredibly hard. Fastest laps, Kerbalizer is slightly quicker than Phil, which is probably what's brought him back onto the back of him, and he's certainly pushing and giving him some pressure.
Anywhere particular, Aaron, he's going to be thinking to make a move, or I mean, there's lots of places you could overtake on this track, but
Yeah, it's got to be the chicane. It has to be either the chicane or turn 1. They're the 2 longest straights. He could arguably do it into the hairpin that we're coming up to, but I don't think he'll get a good enough run, and because he's carrying that bit of ballast, he won't get the slingshot really out of the corner unless Phil makes a big mistake.
indeed, he is closing that gap, though. Is he going to sling one up the inside? And he thinks better of it. Yeah, he does what you said, basically. He just... Oh, a little nudge, though.
He shoved his way through.
That could be classed as a little push to pass there. I know Rubbin's racing Harry, but that was a little aggressive, but he has given the place back in his defence. So he probably saw that as we did and decided to do the sensible thing. So fair play to him.
Way much more track there.
Yeah, you can see he's hunting for that clean air. He's hunting for that extra bit of track to give him that extra bit of overrun to try and make a move. This is where he needs to be, basically glued to his bumper to get the opportunity up into the chicane, which is coming up now. There he is. He dives to the inside. Oh, he thinks better of it, though. But it's so easy there, Matty, is, and when you're doing that type of thing, you can just lock up and hit the driver in front because you're hunting for a different line, and all of a sudden you've missed your braking point, and that's probably what happened with Poddy and Obradovic, to be fair.
Yeah, quite possibly. You're concentrating, but then you start to concentrate on where they are and the lines you can take differently and try and brake a little bit later, and then the next thing you know, your wheels have locked up and you're hitting the back of them, and then nobody's having fun then. It ruins everybody's day, unfortunately. But
it does. But this is now a 3-way battle because George User has joined us. So these guys battling has allowed George to join in, and we almost have a little bit of contact there. Or again, it's all fair in love and war, but these 3 are going to give us some entertainment. I suspect for the remaining 6 minutes of this race. Brilliant stuff. They're all trying different lines. Oh, look at Curb on 2 wheels. It hits that curb that Matty was talking about during his during the on-board lap with Kerbalisha, funnily enough, during qualifying, talked about you don't want to hit that curb because it'll throw you. Well, it didn't just throw him, it threw him up in the air there, Aaron.
We're going to have to call that Buckaroo Corner, aren't we? He was gone. What I was going to say before that is if you were Phil Lawson, Mike, or Matty for this matter, we may as well go to both lads. Are you trying to back the Alfa Romeos into each other, see if they can battle each other, or are you just going to try and go gun-ho, clear everyone?
Look, I mean, personally, whenever I try tactics, they go wrong. Because whenever I'm concentrating on anything other than driving as fast as I can, I make mistakes. So if it was me, I would just be looking ahead and pretending there was nothing behind me and just trying to do 3 qualifying laps to finish it. That's me. I don't know about you, Matty, but that's my approach. I don't have the skills.
I'm probably the same. Realistically, I'll just be trying to absolutely throttle that car for everything I can get out of it. But from being here in the comms box, it's easier to see or think that if he's got a moment to really think about it, he is considerably lighter than the boys behind him. George User's got 58 kilos of ballast. Phil's got 6 kilos, so maybe he can try and back him up, and he knows he's going to be better on the brakes generally, or he should be, because he's got a lot less weight to slow down. So it depends on whether he's got that process in his brain whilst also trying to keep it on the black stuff.
Absolutely. So I think we're actually going to get 3 more laps because we're going to finish this with about 5 or 6 seconds left on the clock. So my first concern for everyone is have they put enough fuel in? Because I think that's a lap further than what people were probably expecting. But we will see. Yeah, I was going to say something and my mind went completely blank, and then I talked about that timing. What was I going to say? Yeah, sorry. This has kind of become a 4-way battle now, because again, these are all battling, and Nick Papen's come into the frame. So, and we've seen mistakes. I tell you what I wanted to ask you, gents, and this is nothing against Bojan Kerbalisha, because he's a fantastic racer. I would say, personally, Bojan has been our fastest driver consistently this season. But he's the one who's made the most mistakes, and that's why he's not in the championship battle. Agree or disagree?
I think that's probably a fair comment to make. He has had some incredible rounds. Did he win all 3 at
Slovakia Ring?
Yeah.
Won all 3 races. He's had some fantastic drives, but he quite clearly pushes and draws very close to that limit because he has made a few mistakes. He's had 2, 3 DNFs as well, which is what's cost him.
I think Shaw's is the tiniest bit better. If you took all the ballast off and made them go toe to toe, I think Shaw's maybe just tips it, but I don't think there's much between the two of them. They're by far the best 2 in the league. I don't know. Maybe I'm just
I was kind of including ballast in it, basically.
Okay. Well, in that sense, carrying ballast, it's Bojan. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, because he's been the fast driver, isn't he? But he's not carrying the ballast because of the mistakes and the DNFs. So,
yeah.
But I mean, that's a prime thing there, because that one little mistake has obviously cost him a position to a championship rival who will extend his lead over him. So it's those little things that you need to take into account. But Kerbalisha looking to make a move down into turn 1. A little lock up there from Lawson, a little bit of smoke coming off the ground, and George lives to fight another day. Russ Butcher and Stu Neal going at it. Stu Neal has got past Russ Butcher. Apologies, we've missed that while watching the battle ahead. Excuse me, Russ down to 6th, but started 9th, so I'm sure he will still be delighted with that. So these guys still going at it. Where are we on track? I'm just trying to gauge it. There's a chance we'll still get another lap after this. We will see. We end up now. I'll be watching to see if everybody runs out of fuel at that point. But George User has managed to catch up to Phil Lawson. I think that little lock up from Phil into turn 1 has just caused him to lose a little bit of pace through a couple of the next corners, and that has meant that this battle has now again become a battle of 3 for the win. Phil will desperately want to hold on to this win, I'm sure. He's got the pole, he's done the hard work. If he wins this, he starts on pole for race 2 as well, so I'm sure he'll be absolutely begging the gods above and Thor and Odin themselves to see him through the remainder of this. Seeing as he's driving a Swedish car, I'm sure he worships Thor and Odin. Why wouldn't he?
The Nordic, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, of course it does.
The logic.
What doesn't? When do I ever say anything that does not make sense?
No comment.
It's
Ouch.
it's super close between these guys. So yeah, we are. What are we? 14 seconds left. Yeah, I think they are going to cross the line and give us one more lap. One more lap of racing. The line is just coming up now.
I can tell you right now, Phil doesn't want that lap.
Yep.
He does not want that lap.
I was expecting to see brakes slam on for the top 3 there.
just end it out. Big.
Phil would have wanted to slow down big time there, but he just couldn't because he was right up his jacks there.
Yeah, he was, and he's made a mistake into turn 1 again. I suspect his tyres are starting to go, and George has put the pressure on, but Kublija made a huge lock-up down into turn 1, meaning he lost a little bit of ground there and gave the driver's head a bit of a breather. But here we go, the battle goes on. This is the final lap of the race now, lap 8. Have they put enough fuel in? Because I think most probably would have thought it was going to only be 7 laps, but hopefully they've prepared for that fact. And yeah, super pressure here. Great run out there from George User, putting the pressure on Phil Lawson now. This is one of only 2 remaining overtaking opportunities for George now to try and win this race. And he hasn't won a race in a while due to the ballast he's been carrying, but he is still top of the Drivers' Championship. Sorry, no, he won last week, didn't he? Sorry, it had been a while before that, but I've seen the screenshots. He won last week. I'm talking nonsense. Excuse me. When do I ever say anything that doesn't make sense? Somebody said that once. But no, Phil is still leading from George. Kubley's are coming right up alongside George. Now they're side by side battling. He's trying to find a different line, trying to find a way past his Alfa Romeo teammate without obviously taking him out of the race. Proper wide there from Kublija.
That'll be a slowdown.
It probably will, you are correct. And hopefully it doesn't compromise him to Nick Pappen in behind, but as long as he does it in the right place, he'll be fine. Phil Lawson now
Butcher in the background.
Just trying to bring it home. Russ Butcher lost the place to Phil Lee, tries to take a position, going long around. Has he got the move done? He keeps it. He's had the inside now for the final corner. Is he going to make that work? And
it's not over yet.
Neil tries to hang it around the outside, but I think Russ has just got him pipped up to the line. So it's Phil Lawson with a fantastic first win of the season ahead of George User, Kublija, then Papadim. Russ Butcher does take 5th position. Fantastic battle there at the end ahead of Stu Neal. Deeks comes home in 7th. Rob South in 8th. Alves in 9th. Obradovic in 10th. Sergio Perez will cross the line in 11th. Derek Neal in 12th. Lava Lemming will bring it home in the 13th position. And Carl Smith in 14th. Potty Flack and Andy Foster both DNF. Wow. Well, I don't know what to say. I'm out of breath. What a finish. We had a bit of action all the way through. That was fantastic. But that was an absolutely exquisite finish. Great racing.
It was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. You mentioned, Aaron, about Russ having a good night potentially for, following that win last week, and he's clearly got the confidence to make moves like that. So I'm looking forward to the rest of it. That was phenomenal. There's so many things to take away from that race. I've made a few notes, but
excuse my hair, it's rather fluffy. I haven't bothered doing it today. I know you two don't care about that because you don't exactly have a big shampoo bill, but anyway, sorry, that was cruel.
I can see now from the Man United top why you didn't want to put your camera on.
It wasn't anything to do with that. I wear this with pride. I can't wait to win the championship in 26, 27.
Wolves are taking that one, mate, don't you worry.
By the championship, I mean the championship, not the Premier League winners.
Yeah, no,
just to clarify for any users who think I'm saying, we're going to win the league, I ain't one of them. Anyway, so before we get into the replays, we will do the reverse grid draw because otherwise I'll forget and I'll get shouted at.
I shall pop it in the chat when you've done it.
So we've got cars 9 down to 16 in the draw. I will just shuffle the numbers because they are the same as they were last time, and we don't want that because we want it to be as fair as possible. So they are shuffled, and I'm going to click the draw now. Around goes the wheel of doom. Where's it going to be? Where's it going to be? It's going to be number...
Oh!
10.
Is that 10?
It's right on the line.
Close to 14. But it is 10, so I'm sure that most of the guys at the top will be pleased about that. Brilliant. That is car number 10. Thank you, Matty, for posting that in the chat for me.
No problem.
That is class. Amazing. So, I mean, from our point of view, we're really selfish. We wanted a massive reverse grid with, all the cars being reversed because we like a bit of carnage, but never mind. It is what it is. Right, let's head over to the Skypad and watch our replays. So just got a couple of replays to go through. Where are we? What's the date today? I can't remember my name. Hi, I'm Mike. Right, so first replay we've got to watch is this, which is first lap battle. I can't remember what happened here because so much happened in that race. So we'll just wait and see if there's some action. Oh, this was Russ, I think, overtaken into... Yeah, but it's all banging. Later on the brakes, fantastic on the brakes actually there from Russ. I got that move down into the hairpin, so that was a cracking. Right, and our next replay is exactly the same thing. Excellent. Why is it recorded it twice? Don't know. Ignore it. Right, next up then we have this replay, which is Russ and Poddy back.
Gotta be the incident.
Ah, yes, that's exactly what this will be. We'll see it. It'll only be in the background because obviously we weren't watching it, but hopefully it'll give us a better idea as to what happened when we get to it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a Volvo. That's
Volvo's
a
clipped,
Borky,
hasn't it?
that's a Borky and Poddy crash. That.
It is, yeah. I think you called that one spot on there, Matty. Fair play, mate. Because I did. I honestly, I'm not blaming. I feel Russ feels I'm blaming, but I thought Russ had clipped him. When he was sort of shooting out wide to get a better angle for the corner, sort of thing. But so yeah. Forgive me, Russ. I do love you, I promise. So this was the battle going down into turns 1, 2, and 3 between these three. Three-way battle for the lead. A little bit of dust being kicked up there, and I think that is... No, there's one more. Apologies, there's one more.
The last lap.
Which is the last lap, yeah.
Oh, is this going to be... this is going to be Russ, isn't it?
This will be Russ's battle, yeah. So we were watching the three-way battle, and there we go. Russ down into the chicane, managed to keep it on the black stuff, managed to not hit his colleague, and then hold it along the inside with a very fast Alfa Romeo trying to go around the outside. Sorry, it's cut the end of that replay off, which is a shame. But absolutely fantastic racing. I gotta say, really enjoyed that. It helps when it's one of my favourite tracks on earth. That certainly doesn't harm the situation for me. But we've got a couple of drivers joining us for the post-race 1 driver briefing. We've done the draw for the reverse grid, so I will hand over to my esteemed colleagues for the driver interviews. Gentlemen, take it away.
I've got to come straight in here. I've got to go to Russ. I clocked you getting a decent run up towards the chicane, and then boom, move around the outside on the last lap of the last chicane. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah and no. Obviously the run was great. The fact that I knew I'd be on later on the brakes was great. But obviously I give Stu the inside. But then obviously when he ran deep on the inside of the first curb, I've kind of had to cut the second in order to stay in the right direction, shall we say. So
Right.
if it needs to be handed back, I'll have to hand it back, I think. But I think I tried to give him as much room as I could whilst trying to stay on the track, and be within the limits. But we'll see. We'll see after.
Well, if it means anything, we thought it was absolutely unbelievable on stream. It just, from the angle we had, it looked unbelievable. Like, it just looked insanely good. Like, it was brilliant. There's no other word for it.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I wouldn't get him in a straight line. That was the issue. The Alpha's far too quick for the Beamer in a straight line. But there was a couple of points on the circuit where he was a lot earlier on the brakes than I was. It was at the top of the hill after you've gone through the really fast sort of left-right chicane. Then that left-hander, I could be a lot later on the brakes into there. I tried it once and he sort of closed the door. And then turn one, tried it once after having a good run out of the first turn, and sort of just bumped him a little bit as I opened the steering up to get the drive off the corner. So I'll give him the inside back again to that one. But it was a really good race between us. I think, like you say, the pace of the Alpha, even with his ballast on, meant that he could fight me because he had the straight line speed, whereas I had the cornering speed. So our lap times were very, very similar. And yeah, it was cat and mouse for a large part of the race, which was good fun.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, it was definitely made for good viewing. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I'll just quickly add in there. From our point of view, it looked like an absolutely phenomenal overtaking. If you watch the stream back, you'll hear all three of us, I think, simultaneously go, "What a move!" So from our side, it looked fantastic. But I will very quickly jump over to Southie. We didn't see a huge amount of you during the race because there was so much going on. But things are incredibly tight in that Independence Championship, and Carl had quite a lot of issues during that race. Carl Smith went through the pits, he got sent wide. That may well put you on top of the Independence Championship. I don't know if that's something you was aware of during the race.
It's given me something at least. I know Russ is obviously ahead, well, finished ahead of me, but behind me. But I suppose that was the only thing I had to look forward to because I had a terrible start. I think about 4 cars overtook me, but then Carl barrel in, locking himself up. That's why he had to go in the pits. Sort of saved me a little bit. I got held up for 2 laps, and then I was just no man's land. Not fast enough to catch the boys in front, quicker than the guys behind, and I just thought I'd come in here for a chat, really, to, you know, make my night worthwhile.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, like I said, we didn't see a huge amount of you. You was in the middle of the pack, and we had a 3-way battle up the front with a few mistakes. We had Russ battling just ahead of you on track. So it's difficult to say about anything in particular that happened during that race for you. Was there anything that sort of stood out that we may have missed?
Not really, like I say, like that Sergio got an absolute mega start and then kept me honest for 2 laps, and it really took, you know, him making a mistake for me to be able to capitalise. You know, I couldn't really overtake him into any of the proper braking zones. Just that he, in the end of the first sector, he made an error and lost a load of speed on the exit that I managed to drive past him. Other than that, I don't think I would have got close enough really to be able to get past him.
Yeah,
but once that happened, it just seemed to fall away.
Yeah, sometimes those, you know, you get those sort of races, and it's kind of a nothing race when it comes to any kind of action. You mentioned Sergio Perez, which I don't know what his real name is. We'll go with Sergio. What is it like racing him? Because I don't know if those that are watching know, but he actually plays with his keyboard, doesn't he? He doesn't have a wheel or pedals. He is a professional pianist, he's mentioned, so he's quite good. Trying to word this in the right way, quite good using his fingers on the keyboard, shall we say. But yeah, what's it like racing against a guy using a keyboard?
You have to be slightly wary, obviously braking zones. We had, I did find out in practice actually, we had a practice race and where he was just still learning the track, he was braking 50 metres earlier, so I did give him a nudge in practice, but to be fair, he was probably braking a bit later into some of the corners, but because he can't modulate the throttle and the brake at the same time, he can't carry the speed into some of the corners. But like I said, he held me up for 2 laps, and I couldn't really get on terms with him until he made an error. So he actually drove very well.
Yeah, to say that he does it with a keyboard, from what we have seen of him on track, you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell from our point watching the stream and running the stream. So it's fair play to him. He's obviously
the main thing is when you're behind him. So the car looks very jittery, the same as if you're on a controller, or you're always doing those micro adjustments to keep yourself going straight. That's the only way you'd know.
Yeah, and it's difficult to say. I mean, I don't think we've ran on board with him or really watched much wheel-to-wheel action with him that much. But generally from the stream, when it comes to it, you can't tend to see it too badly, which is why it's handy to get the insight from yourself who has gone wheel-to-wheel with him on the track. So I do appreciate that. And fingers crossed for you for race 2 and 3, you get a little bit more entertainment out of your race.
Hopefully I can get a better start. That'll probably be half the problem, but...
Yeah, it's a difficult thing. We've got a few drivers in this championship that do get absolute bullet starts and are really good at them. I mean, to be fair, Carl looked like he had a fantastic start until he locked up into turn 1 and went wide. So we shall see. But like I said, fingers crossed for you, mate.
I'll expect him to be alongside me by the time he gets to T1.
Well, he's in that Audi, isn't he? That 4-wheel drive may well help him off that line.
Looking forward to another good race. Hopefully a bit more action from my side, or a bit more battling at least.
Fingers crossed, mate, and best of luck.
Cheers, boys.
Oh, thank you, as usual, to our drivers for coming in. It's good timing, actually, because we're just about in time to move over for race 2. So this will be them starting in the positions that they finished race 1. So it's not always as simple as it just being a concession finishing how they finished the previous race, though, is it, Aaron? Because obviously we've got people like Poddy, for example, who are completely out of position due to what happened to them in race 1. So it isn't necessarily just going to be a concession.
Yeah, correct, mate, correct. I won't talk for too long as we get on the grid.
Yeah, it was a super fast turnaround that time, and we're foot flat to the floor, and away we go down to the first corner with the green light, and it is another good start from Phil Lawson, just ahead of George User. Curb Leisure in third, he'll be looking to make some progress, and it's a great start from Russ Butcher again. I think the rear-wheel drive and downhill, and the fact that they are in Bavaria, has all kind of... played into the strengths of the BMW there as he makes up another couple of positions. Cracking start up to third. Curb Leisure with a little mistake there, ran a little wide into turn 1. Stu Neal gets ahead of him. Curb Leisure now down to 5th, not the start he would have wanted after what happened to him in race 1. He's going to be very aggressive there on Stu Neal, looking to try and get past him, but he does get a great slingshot.
He's round!
Oh, he's round! We've missed. There's big contact. Lots of drivers off.
Yeah, that's Carl Smith again.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's
Carl
be
and
race
Russ.
over, surely.
Yeah, they've both got big damage. They don't even have bumpers anymore. Big shame. Russ, he made such a good start. That is absolutely gutting for him. But the race continues, and we will call it as we see it. But yeah, couldn't really see what happened there. We just saw it happening in the background, obviously. So I'm sure we'll speak to the drivers later on. But we're coming towards the second half of lap 1, and already we've had lots of drama. There we go. Phil Lawson still ahead of George User, but George User putting pressure on already. It looks like George has kind of got a handle on that ballast now, and is making himself known to Phil, and he'll want to get it done now so he can get in front to look after his tyres if he can. And a second gap then back to Curb Leisure, who obviously had to avoid a bit of carnage there during all those incidents earlier on. Oh, he's up on 2 wheels again there, Curb Leisure. He's not shy to throw it up against the curb, that's for sure. He's not once bitten, twice shy, because he's already had curb issues, should we say. But he's certainly not afraid to keep doing it. Deke's up to 5th in this race so far. Great start to the race for him. 2 positions gained. Manuel Alves up 3 in 6th position. So, yeah, it's just everybody's settling in now. Oh, are we going to see Nick Papden make a move on Alves? We do. He's a little bit later on the brakes, down into turn 1. Papden gets that position back after losing a couple of places off the start. And yeah, so top 5 cars covered by 2.5 seconds at the moment. Oh, somebody went. Sorry, the cars just sort of flashed across the screen then. So it must have been a glitch or something. It looked like somebody had gone flying off. But no, we carry on. So, oh, there's a mistake there from Derek Neal. He runs wide. Andy Foster runs through up into 13th, and Lava Lemon also gets that position from Derek Neal. He's got a little bit of damage by the looks of it on the front of that car, so I think he's had a little bit of a bump somewhere. And then 6 seconds back, you've got the 2 wounded parties that were involved in that incident at the start. Looks like mostly sort of front bodywork damage, so I mean hopefully the car is at least drivable, so we'll get to the end of the race. That is hopefully what we will see. Arvis putting pressure now on Rob South, looking to get up into 7th position, taking very different lines through there, but South cuts back across and takes a decent line. Obradovic putting pressure now on Alves as well, and as it settles down I can take a breath. But we are seeing battles right through the field, but yeah, I mean Aaron, that was tragic for us on that one after such a good start.
So sad. I saw him sort of get on the loud pedal a bit too early and sort of semi-lose it. I thought, oh, he saved it, but no, not to be. And then as soon as you go around in the middle of the track, especially in that part where it does arguably narrow the most, you just sit and duck. And unfortunately, he was a passenger in that scenario and did get collected. But luckily, it seemed like most of the field actually got away with it. It was just him and Carl who've obviously ended up on the bad side of it.
Yeah, because Matty, as he's alluding to there, that could have been a 12-car pile-up quite easily.
Oh yeah, big time. He was right in the middle of the track. Obviously, he was at the very front when he spun round. Luckily, everybody dodged him. And to be fair to Russ, I think he did the right thing. When you spun round, you've ended up in the middle of the track. A lot of people will have the instinct to try and roll out of the way. But at that point, you need to stick your brakes on and just stay put, because if you're a moving target as such, it could end up 10 times worse.
It certainly could, and it certainly does, and I've done that myself in the past. But somebody we haven't spoken about, who did manage to avoid the incidents on lap 1 this time around, is Poddy Flack, and he's actually made 6 positions already in this race, as we are at the beginning of lap 3, so he's up to 9th already, so making up for the issues that he had in that first race by having a good strong showing here. And he's got a couple of no disrespect, slower drivers ahead of him who he should have the pace over, so he could well make a few more positions on top of what he's already done. I think I've caught whatever you've got, Matty. I can't get my words out.
Mine is a lack of talent and skill when it comes to commentary, which is amazing because normally I don't shut up. One thing I will point out is Poddy's made these positions up, and he's now actually behind Boki Obradovic, who is the driver that actually did take him out of that race.
Oh, tip for tap, Pod. Chuck him off. Chuck him off. I'm joking.
Yeah, a little peek behind the curtain. Poddy isn't a happy bunny. So fingers crossed he can keep a calm, cool head during this race, and not let his anger take over. At the minute he's sitting just over a second behind Boki, but we'll see if he catches him up, and we'll see if he can stay calm when battling for that position.
We will see, and yes, I'm sure it will be interesting. We have an extra driver in this race.
That'll be Shoke. He
Yes.
missed race 1. He was on some technical difficulties with loading up and getting into the game.
I see. I didn't include him in the reverse grid. Not that it would have mattered, I don't guess, because he would have been outside of that. But anyway, all good. Right, these are once again making it a 3-way battle for the lead. Phil Lawson still leading, looking to make it 2 wins out of 2. And then we'll see how he gets on in the reverse grid. But 2 out of 2 is what he is aiming for. Got pole, got a win in race 1, and I guess now Matt, he's just kind of praying that these 2 alphas battle like death behind him and give him that breathing space he needs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what he would have been hoping for, and actually got on the final lap of the last race. It's that whole thing that Aaron mentioned last time. Does he try and back him up and keep him going? Apologies, my alarm's just gone off. Or does he just try and pull away and hopefully they get themselves not tangled up in a point where they go off, but slowing each other down?
Yeah, you kind of mentioned, Aaron, at the top of the show that there's obviously it's quite a wide track. You can have 3 wide in some places, certainly 2 wide most of the track. Does that make it a difficult track to actually defend on then when you're trying to defend as a leading driver?
Yeah, you kind of need the other car behind to be within the battle. So this happened to me when I got a race winning. I don't think you were racing at the time, but in the Honda, I had to back up second into third to allow third to attack as my defence. Because when I was just a 2-car man out in front, I was a sitting duck. I literally couldn't defend. It was impossible.
No, I remember that race because I was actually at Nurburgring while you guys were simulating Nurburgring, so that's why I wasn't racing that day. So you are correct. Yeah, I was at Nurbs, I think, in my actual Honda rather than racing.
You were there, but you weren't there.
I was, yeah, exactly. Rather than racing in my virtual Honda. I think it was that one anyway. Maybe, I don't know. I've slept since then. Yeah, it wasn't last year. It was the year before. I'm sure it was.
It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
All right, Skywalker. Right. So back to the action. It's still Kerbalija putting pressure on George User, who's trying to basically, I would imagine, do what I do and don't look in his rearview mirrors and just look at the car ahead and try and follow him. Because I mean, yeah, Kerbalija's kind of, in a positive way, he's all over the road. He's really hunting just for any bit of extra grip, any bit of clean air he can get. Just try and put the driver off just by flashing around in his mirrors. But yeah. Phil Lawson doing a fantastic job, not looking like he's under any pressure in the way he's driving. He's not making mistakes. But a good run there from George out of that corner. It looked like he might have just got a bit of a run, but again, Lawson taking a slightly different line, but still having that pace.
That's a slow down for Borja. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, I totally threw you off your
absolutely. So I just thought you were going to continue. That's all.
No. Just so, if all 4 wheels go over the red and white strip in the Schumacher S's and touch the green, that is a slowdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And it did look like that is what he did, but he hasn't slowed down. So whether he's saving it for the chicane, because that is one of the places where you can kind of get away with it a little bit and get that penalty gone. But again, it doesn't look like he's backing off.
He might not have got a huge slowdown if it's only his first track limit.
True. Yeah, it might have only been a short one, and you can just, and certain corners where you would naturally just not accelerate anyway, it picks it up that you have slowed down because it's crap. There's no other word for it. The system's crap. But it is what it is. It promotes great racing, this sim, but yeah, the penalty system and the track limit system are not great. But I just
want to bring to the attention that Boki Bradovic is right up behind Rob South and giving him plenty of pressure in the middle of that pack.
Oh, yes.
Poddy was struggling to close them down. Not too long ago, he was still a second behind. But now Boki's up behind Southie and struggling to make that move. It's bringing Poddy back into that battle and giving him an opportunity. Yeah.
The question is, will Poddy remember where his brake pedal is at the important time?
Absolutely.
Only time will tell. So
one thing I have noticed, sorry to interrupt you there, Mike, very quickly. I've been keeping an eye on the gap from Bradovic to Rob South, and it's very up and down. 1 minute he's right on his tail and just 0.1 second behind, and then the next he's sort of 3 and 4 tenths down. So he seems to get there, try and make a move, and then maybe drop back a little bit. So
how were we looking for consistency, Matty, between the drivers?
Thank you very much for mentioning that, because I've completely forgotten that on that screen. Let's have a look. The other screen is easier to keep an eye on the gaps. Let's have a look. They're all generally between, not including Russ and Carl, obviously they're damaged. They're all anywhere between sort of 90 and 94% which isn't the highest that we've seen this year. We've seen a few on 98, 99% throughout
Yeah,
the
yeah,
entire race. I have noticed quite a few of it invalid laps from race 1 and race 2. So I think they're pushing quite hard and struggling with some of the track limits.
I'd be on 99%, I would.
Yeah, yeah, of course you would.
Only on this track, nowhere else. And Poddy Flack has just got alongside Abramovich on the outside. Is he going to make it stick all the way around the outside like a trailer park girl? He's got
Gets mentioned every week, and I'm here for it.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Every week.
You missed the Wham reference earlier on.
But he's got the move done. He had the slipstream, importantly, from south. The way he pushed Abramovich wide there through the corner, to the inside, and took the wide line. He was the one who had that slipstream, Aaron, and that is what gave him that advantage on the straight. And he's got the move done nice and clean.
While we've been watching this, a huge change in the battle for the lead. Shaw's user and Bojan Kurbelija both passed Phil Lawson.
Last lap shown as invalid for both of them, so I'm assuming mistakes somewhere. But yeah, apologies again. We missed that. See, every time I go from the lead, something happens. So I'm sure that's some sort of commentator's curse there for you, Phil. But apologies. But yeah, Kurbelija not letting this one go either. So and that's not right for Lawson off yet. If these two battle away, then there is still a chance that he could get back into it, and we probably do have one lap left after this lap as well. So let's keep an eye on it, as we always do. So Poddy putting pressure on Rob South, looking for that 7th position, and we are also keeping an eye on this battle for the lead. So yeah, must have been a mistake from Phil, I would imagine, only because he's dropped so far back. He hasn't just tucked in right behind the drivers he was battling with. But Kurbelija trying to take a look there, can't quite get a move done, and yeah, it stays as it was. Georgiou stays in front, Kurbelija behind. We are just going to creep into one more lap once again. There's just enough time for that last lap to start. So by 4 seconds, it was close. But here we are. Is he going to make a move down to turn 1? They've both made mistakes locking up down to turn 1. Are we going to see that again? Oh, look at that!
Oh, Phil's too late.
Super late on the brakes. He was really lucky there, because he could have caused a huge crash. But he did not. But that is his battle for the lead pretty much done and dusted, unless these two make mistakes. Ahead of him now, he's way too far back. But Kurbelija trying to get onside. Oh yeah, gets up on 2 wheels again. He loves that curb, doesn't he? But yet again, he can't quite get it done. But he's just—I love his driving style. He's just super aggressive, isn't he, Matt? He just goes for it.
It's one of those things where he must be confident in the car and his abilities to handle it, because if you don't have that confidence, you're not making moves like that and risking that curb absolutely launching you. So it's fair play to him for having the testicular fortitude.
Indeed. I like that term. Yeah, that's good, that is. So Russ is catching up with Derek Neal, trying to, with half a car, I think it's fair to say, get that position and get into the points. Because I think, is it only top 15 they get points? I can't remember. I've got such a terrible memory for these things. I really should stop doing this really and hand it over to the professionals. Right, Abramovich is back close behind Poddy Flack. Poddy is also close behind Rob South, so they are battling away. We'll keep an eye on all this. Kurbelija is so close now, going up towards the chicane. Georgiou just gets on the brakes, and Kurbelija can't get past unless he can sling one around the outside or make a desperate move into the last corner, which he can't. Georgiou has it covered, and George with a fantastic win with maximum ballast. Let's not forget, Georgiou takes the race win for race 2, and Kurbelija with a fantastic 2nd position. Great battling all the way through. Phil, I'm sure, will be disappointed. Hopefully we'll find out what happened there with that error. It's always when we're not watching the stream the drama happens. elsewhere. Stu Neal comes home in 4th. Deegan in 5th. Great finish. More what we've expected from him. Papdim in 6th. South in 7th. Poddy Flack recovered well to finish in 8th. Bradovic in 9th. And Joguet, who also recovered really well, gaining 7 positions after missing race 1. Rounds out our top 10. Russ Butcher ended up in 15th after his accident, and Carl Smith behind him in 16th. Lava Lemon on the DNF of that race. And there we go. There's the official standing. George User was the winner, and Kerbelige with the fastest lap.
30-second penalty there for Derek Neal down at the bottom.
Oh yeah. That'll be
a slow down at the chicane that he's not took.
Yeah, because it was obviously too late probably for him to do it. So
Also, that Lava Lemming DNF, I believe, would have come right at the very end, because I'm fairly sure he was still running round on that final lap.
yeah.
So I'm not sure what's happened there.
No, me neither. Not that I ever know what's going on, but you know, that's.
We're just winging it, aren't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah, of course we are. We haven't got a clue what's happening.
We're just 3 men stumbling through life, commentating on touring cars.
You could take the way the commentating on touring cars on that would fit quite nicely.
Yep.
Indeed, it would. Right. Let's see if we've got any replays. I can't remember what I did or didn't grab on that one, to be honest, because I'm tired. Oh, he hasn't picked up any of them. Excellent. Great news.
Brilliant.
None of my replays have saved from that one.
Beautiful.
Okay. Useful. Apologies.
That's good. That means we've got longer to talk to Rob South.
Excellent. In that case, I will leave you talk away to our esteemed guest. So,
Wonderful.
off you go,
I'll
gentlemen.
quickly jump in, if that's all right, Aaron. You jumped in first last time. I've just timed it right, really, with Russ jumping in there. I'm not going to lie. I was going to go to Southie. I do apologise, Rob. However, much more entertaining things happened with Russ Butcher. We saw you spin. We saw you try to catch it. We saw you fail. That was a bit hard. And then you were stuck in the middle of the track, not being able to do anything. And then
I couldn't move.
Came through
Didn't
Carl
dare
Smith.
move. Yeah, I'm really sorry to
unfortunately got
Carl. Yeah.
collected. What happened? What caused you to spin it out? Did you just lose it on the curb? Did you, as Aaron?
No, overzealous, mate. Overzealous.
Yeah, Aaron said he thought you might have got on the loud pedal too quickly.
Got on the loud pedal too quickly. Spun the rear. Obviously, like you said, tried to catch it. Thought I caught it. Got back on the power. Fishtailed the other way, and that was the end of that.
It's a shame because you had an absolute rocket of a start, and you're up into P3. We were all commenting on how well of a start you had.
There you go. It's our fault. It's our fault. We jinxed it.
Yeah, Kurt.
He got a nosebleed and then forgot he was in rear-wheel drive, not front-wheel drive.
That is exactly it. Yes. Just got on the loud pedal too quickly, and that was the end of that. So I'm sorry to Carl really for ruining his race, because he was just an innocent bystander. But obviously the cars all parted ways, and then he was left just coming head on into me. Not my finest hour, but hopefully next race we won't do the same thing.
It was incredibly entertaining to see. I do apologise. I was trying to listen and also read a couple of messages from Sergio. Fingers crossed for you for the next race, and fingers crossed for Carl, because he's done an absolute mare tonight on race 1 and race 2. Rob, you must be absolutely thrilled that it's them two that's happened to. They're the ones battling you for the Independent Championship. And as much as you don't want people to crash, it's every cloud has a silver lining.
The worst bit, we all get on so well. That's the worst thing, you know what I mean? Just wouldn't want it to, me and Russ were talking earlier saying that he missed a round, I missed a round, Carl's had a couple of DNFs, and it's all just congregated so nicely. And for this now to happen to Carl have a couple of bad rounds and then Russ in this one. At least they both finished in both of them, which is good. So
Yeah.
it won't extend massively, but they're still in it, which is what we want going into the final round.
Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed it's going to be a hell of a battle. I mean, I don't know how well you say you get on really well. Are you just going to stick it in the wall in race 3 to even things up tonight, or
Or we might get
To be
put
fair,
there.
to be
We
fair,
might. That was a threat there from Ross, I think.
whatever the reverse grid is, either one of them will be starting in front of me, one of them will be starting behind me, and they'll probably both be in front of me by the first corner. So, but again, I can just manage it. I can just sit there, let them do what happens. Obviously, we've got to then negotiate the quick drives coming through as well. So, just I suppose I can be a bit more cautious now. I can park up and let everyone go through and roll around if needs be.
Well, yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to reply to Sergio Perez, who's just asking a few questions there. You also had you had Boki Abradovic and Poddy Flat coming up behind you, and Boki was giving you a bit of bother, which obviously then brought Poddy back into the battle. And I don't know if you're aware, but they had a bit of a come together in race 1. I don't know if you're as aware of that, and maybe got a little bit nervous about how overzealous they were going to be whilst battling behind you.
No, I weren't really that bothered. I thought if I can just get out, I knew that I was going to be vulnerable to them. I knew that they both qualified in front, both in probably arguably better cars. So I knew what I had to do. So purposely going slow on apexes just to get the run down the straights. Just so I knew that the toe would basically be negated and defend. So that's probably why we were so far off the back, because mainly I was looking in my mirrors for like 15 minutes. It was just nice when Poddy got behind, because Poddy's got more weight on, so you could noticeably see the drag out the corner. So I could easily pull a 7/10 gap and just know that with him with the toe, he's not going to claw that back and put me under a load of pressure. So the last 2 laps was a lot nicer than having Boki behind me, because he was all over me.
Yeah, I get that from. I mean, I've not raced for a very long time, but when you get certain people that are bothering you and right up behind you, you get that little bit more nervous, don't you? And especially running ballast like we do in the Taurus, it's not something I've ever done before from my sim racing experience. But it's I can imagine that added ballast to the heavy car behind is a pleasant thing. I do apologise, Aaron. I've taken all of the time up during these interviews. I'll pass that over to you, mate.
You took all my questions. I've got nothing more to say.
Got nothing left.
I've got nothing left. I'll just I'll play the sad horn. So
I just wanted to say I'm so glad I made the cut for this one. Made the director's cut.
yeah, you actually featured this time round. I'm a bit sad Sergio's left. I was going to ask him about what his plans were for an onboard keyboard video. That sounded quite interesting, that actually.
Yeah, I think he's wanting us to potentially go on board with him during the race, or maybe I did mention that we might be able to do it during qualifying next week, just so we can get an insight as to what it potentially looks like whilst he's running using the keyboard. So it may be something we can maybe do next week if he doesn't get stuck in too much with action in race 3.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely.
What was the reverse grid? I don't even know.
P10.
As I'm starting third. I presume, I think. Or second. I've finished 8, so must be up there somewhere.
Yeah, you'd be in P3, wouldn't you? 10 on pole, 9th in second. You'd be starting P3 this race. How's
Certainly
that?
the world's widest Honda.
Fingers crossed for you, mate. And hopefully, we've had a couple of them happen tonight. Hopefully no one gets the braking wrong and comes up the back end.
Well, I'm going to be out-dragged by at least 3 cars probably, because my starts are terrible.
Have faith. Have faith, Rob. I believe in you.
Thanks, mate. Well, I'm going to head back in, boys, and I'll probably speak to you afterwards. Cheers,
Sounds
lads.
like a plan.
No,
Sounds like
good
a
luck
plan.
for race 3, mate. Good luck for race 3.
Thank you.
There we go. Thank you very much again to all of our drivers and the questions from my wonderful colleagues. I am going to head over to the race scene now. We still have got 5 minutes of practice left while everybody gets ready for Race 3, so reverse grid, not as dramatic a reverse grid as we kind of hope for as racing fans, Aaron, but it'll still be entertaining nonetheless, and we've still got people coming back through the grid. So people like Pod, if I'm right, when he finished the DNF, he'll still be starting like 16th in this race, won't he? So we're going to have the front 10 sort of reversed, and we've still got 2 or 3 people out of position as well. So anything can happen.
Yeah, big sort of shout. Well, not a shout out. Just keep an eye out for Soki and Poddy. They are the ones to watch definitely in this race. But I mean, look how fast Bojan is. But look how much he struggled to get past Phil and Shaw's. Is he going to have the same sort of thing moving through traffic in this race 3? We don't know. That's the beauty of TCSRL. We never know.
I think he's got something like a 40% DNF rate for race 3s this season.
Really?
So, I mean, he's not
not prolific.
Not prolific in race 3. I think he does have issues with the slower traffic. Obviously, I'm the same. I'm not judging. He's a far more talented driver than me. But yeah, I think he has seemed to struggle in some of the race 3s that we've had. So, and had quite a few DNFs. So we'll see. But yeah, there's lots to look out for. Lots of people are going to be all over the place on the grid. So. And it does throw up a couple of surprises now again, whether that be a driver that comes through from 14th to win, or we get somebody who doesn't normally get a race win, gets that victory because everybody behind is battling, and we get to celebrate a new race winner. Whatever it'll be entertaining, I am sure. So we're just currently watching Sergio Perez now. So I tell you what,
Real name is Sergio, Mike. We've been told allegedly.
Let's jump on board with him so we can kind of see. You can see how he's having to dab the keyboard, can't you? So it'd be interesting actually. We've got a couple of minutes, so let's have a look at it. Aaron, just pick up any insights basically into how it sort of seems to work with the keyboard.
Yeah, well, clearly in like the sweeping corners, it's not so bad. It's just one continuous press of the keyboard, but then sort of figuring out when the turn point would be in a kink, or as we're seeing here in the straight, there's micro corrections to get him in the right point for the chicane. The car's just jittering along now. Obviously, that's going to cost you time over the lap. If you think about it, if you were holding a steering wheel in your car at home, you're not just gently turning, you're aggressively turning the wheel to like 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock on a clock face. That does have an effect. So for Sergio to be as competitive as he is with that type of almost handicap of driving along, it's brilliant. And the only sort of weakness he's going to have is maybe he's being a little bit slower on the straights, but maybe that feel in the braking zone. You know, these cars are very easy to snatch a wheel with, as in locking up. So we have tricks of moving the brake bias back, but that can make the car unsettled and a bit nervous, and ultimately harder to catch on a keyboard if the car has a moment. So all of these things that Sergio's having to deal with, or elements that you guys at home might be able to play with on your steering wheel, Sergio doesn't have those tools, and he's still really competitive. You know, he's 9/10 off Soki there on his laps. Excuse me. So hats off to the guy. This isn't easy, and to be in a league as competitive as ours, and actually be battling away with people and not being a hindrance, it'd be so easy. I mean, if I tried to do this on a keyboard, I'd be guaranteed to nail someone in the back, and Sergio doesn't. So it's brilliant. It's good to see. It's refreshing to see as well how accessible our league is to people. It could be so easy for Russ to turn around and say, "Oh no, you're on a keyboard. You've got no chance of racing with us. You can't do it." And yet TCSRL, you can.
Absolutely. I tell you what's coming to mind is the Alex Albon interview where he describes Max Verstappen's driving style as putting the mouse sensitivity up to full, and then you move it like half an inch and it flies across the screen. Whereas this guy's actually racing with a mouse, and I just find that astonishing. I couldn't agree more with everything he said. It just it's a completely different skill set, obviously, but you've still got to have such an understanding of how the cars drive and behave to know what inputs to put in, but it's completely different. I mean, what we love about sim racing generally, and what I love about sim racing, and speak for my colleagues, but what I love about it is it's the only thing you can do at home on a computer which is nigh on the same as doing it in real life. Like when you play FIFA, you hold in a controller. When you play Tiger Woods, you hold in a controller, whereas these have got wheels and pedals and a seat, and you sit in it and you put in the inputs.
Does that mean Wii Sports is a sim as well?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. Because you hold the bowling ball. Yeah, it kind of feels like a bowling ball.
You've got the bat. You've got baseball bat.
Yeah. I mean, all right, maybe not Wii Sports, but you get my point. But to have people then who are able to be, I mean, Aaron, to be fair, my co-commentator is very competitive with a pad on other sims like F1 and things like that as well. So, it's a completely different skill set, but still you have to, in your mind, have that understanding of how cars work and how they're going to behave to understand what inputs to put in. So, nothing but respect for my colleague and particularly our subject of this discussion, Mr.
I'll have to do a hot lap comparison of me on the wheel on Race Room versus me on the pad to see which one's faster.
I don't even think I could do it on a pad. Mind you, I did download Gran Turismo 2 on my laptop the other day.
Brilliant.
Legally, of course. And played it on a PS emulator, and I was alright, actually. Yeah, because I connect my PS4 controller up to it because I haven't got a PS5 because I only game on PC these days. So what's the point? It was actually quite good fun going back and playing the old games. So good memories. Anyway, I think we managed to fill that 6 minutes quite well, gentlemen. Matty had a snack. And me and Aaron talked garbage about keyboards and mice for 6 minutes. Absolutely brilliant.
I know. I'm going to go sprint and get a snack now before the race starts.
I was going to say, I know I'd rather be Matty. But anyway, we are about to go for race 3. Abramovich starting on pole from Alves, from south, from Deacon. It's lights, go green, foot flat to the floor, and away we go down towards the first corner. Abramovich and from Alves, from south. South has lost a couple of positions off the start. To be fair, he said he was going to, and he has. Decent start from Butcher. He's up 3 positions already, up to 3rd. He could be in danger of having another race win here if he's not careful. He needs to watch himself. Great, nice, fair racing down into turn 1. No major incidents. Showcase 6 positions off the start for Showcase. Absolutely fantastic stuff. But Butcher looking dangerous in the opening exchanges here as he tries to put pressure. A little bit of a tap by Manuel Alves on Russ there, but I think Butcher's just got away with it. And he lives to fight another day. Deacon gets his position back, so he's back up into 4th. Now Alves lost a couple of positions. George User also up to 5th. Of our front runners, George User is the one who has made up the most ground in the opening stages. Kirby's right behind him, and where is Stu Nielsen second? Sorry.
Bill Lawson's had a mare. He's gone back 6 spots and currently sitting in 15th spot just in front of Carl Smith. As
we fly to him, he makes a move on
Andy Foster
and goes up in position. So good stuff. But yeah, clearly not had the start we were expecting from the person who won race 1. So Abramovich and still leading from Stu Neal, from Deeks, from Russ Butcher. So this is great stuff as George is now putting pressure on Russ as his curve leader behind him. So I guess the question now is how far up the grid can George User and Curb Leisure get, and which one of those two is going to be the one to win it. If they do get that far up, not that I want to curse anyone, but the entire field on this first lap, all kind of pretty much within a second of the car in front. So we're in for a good one, I think, as Abramovich comes across the line to finish the first lap. and still in the lead. Stu Neal half a second behind, then Craig Deeks, then Russ, and then we've got the battle. So this is the one to watch at the moment. Are we going to see a move down into turn one? You can see how much better that BMW is on the brakes. Oh, he's been hit! He's been hit! George User, I think it was, yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, it's all gone wrong for Russ again.
Was that Shaw's trying to go up the inside? I just don't think it was quite far enough up the inside, and Russ came across trying to take that corner, which from the angle I was looking at, it was his corner quite possibly, and got caught in the rear quarter bonnet from Shaw's user.
Yeah, I think he just didn't expect how good that BMW is on the brakes, and he's ended up getting caught out a little bit, I think. We're watching as Poddy Flack is getting in a position to put some pressure on our friend Sergio, we were just talking about, and he's looking to line up a move. Yes, you can see the inputs now. I've noticed it. It looks like he's wiggling his hips, like it's like Shakira.
Hips don't lie.
Yeah, we love a musical reference. It's our sort of segment within our segment, really. Russ has been overtaken now by George, this time cleanly, and he's not letting it go lightly though. Poddy Flack still putting pressure here on the Mexican driver, looking to get up into 7th. It's pretty much levelled out at the top now, but it'd be hard to bet against Kerbalisha with just under 11 minutes left going on to challenge for the win, but we'll keep an eye on those gaps. Right now we are watching Poddy Flack as he tries. Oh, Kerbalisha's made a lot of ground there on Craig Deeks actually, so we just skip into this battle. He might be in a position, if he can get a good run out of here, to make a move down into turn 1. Poddy Flack did get past Perez. Typically, see, I skip away from it, he makes a move. It's always the way. The drivers just don't know how to be patient and wait for me to go back to them. I'm joking, obviously, they got no idea. Kerbalisha down on Deeks into the first corner, gets the move done. Fantastic stuff from him, and he goes up into 3rd. And now he's got 2 seconds to make up to challenge for that race victory. So let's see if he can do it. So we go back to Poddy Flack, who's been overtaken by Sergio. Phil Lawson is there as well.
Give him a little nudge up the back end there, a little push to pass by Poddy.
Just snap that replay, assuming it'll save at all. And we'll take another look at that a little bit later on. But yeah, Poddy Flack does get the position, and Phil Lawson and Rob South have also come through now due to that contact. But Phil Lawson, who I'm right in saying was 15th, a lap and a half later is now back up to 8th.
Yes, yes, very much so.
Wow. I mean, I don't know how that's happened. I'm assuming, there's been a little bit of back and forth and people hitting each other and stuff and giving them a few opportunities, but regardless, absolutely fantastic stuff there from Phil Lawson. So, yeah, halfway through lap 1 was down in 15th position. Halfway through lap 3 is back up to 8th and has technically gained a position now. So Jockey's gained the most of 11 positions, Poddy Flack has gained 7 positions. Your typical race 3 sort of turnaround of positions there. And that's why I used to love tracking that in the old league, how many positions people gained, because this was the one where you could get all your positions gained for the league table. I used to love tracking that because I'm a data nerd.
Yeah, I mean, you ain't got to tell me I'm the one that's sitting here looking at all the data and trying to add something that to the stream. I'm not going to lie, I absolutely love it. So much so that I've set up my 3rd monitor to have even more data available to me as I swing around trying to look at the screens that I've got.
Fantastic.
I'm all for the nerdy stats.
We love it as Stu Neal tries to make a move down into second. Oh, there's a little bit of door banging. He's giving him the benefit of the doubt, I think, and giving him a position back to there. Do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, well, it's not over yet though. They're still side by side. Either the sweeping left-hander. How have these two not managed to punt each other off yet? They're giving each other so much respect. But Stu Neal ran a little bit wide there. Arguably might have a little slowdown, but that's the end of that battle for now.
it is Kerbalisha is now right on the back of these guys, so he's there ready. And I tell you what, Craig Deeks has followed the Kerbalisha through as well and is right on the back of it. So we've got a 4-way battle for victory here in race 3. Fantastic stuff as they head down towards the hairpin. Kerbalisha looking to get a move done on the brakes, but thinks better of it and lets Stu Neal go this time. Deeks right there with him now. He's found some pace in this last race and got himself going. So yeah, race on. Anything you've seen in the data there, Matty, that's going to help us with any insight into this?
To be fair, one thing that I was going to mention was it's been a fairly, I don't want to do it and commentators curse it, but it's been a fairly quiet night for Stu Neal. We've not really seen too much of him, but let's not sleep on the fact that before this night started, he was second in the Drivers' Championship. Like, he is no slow driver. You know, he's not an easy driver to fight against. As you see here with Kerbalisha going up the inside. He's coming up to the chicane. Is he going to stick it around the outside? Or is Stu going to... Yeah, I feel like the Stu maybe just didn't really fancy that side-by-side through that chicane there, and maybe just yielded a little bit just for the sake of both of them getting through that slot.
But a good move by Kerbalisha nonetheless. But yeah, I agree. It has been a quiet night for Stu Neal, but he is going to finish well ahead of George User in this race now. So despite the fact he's finished behind him in the first 2 races, he'll claw some points back in this one now. Obviously, George having that incident with Russ Butcher on beginning of lap 2, I believe it was, wasn't it? So yeah, so that has given Stu the opportunity here, if he can finish on the podium, to claw some of those points back. And that could be all important going into next week's finale as we try to round up the first TCSRL Super Tourer Championship, which, yeah, I'm sure will be absolutely fantastic, as all the races have been. I don't think we've had one boring one, to be honest. I mean, even the races where they've been a bit strung out, we've had really great entertainment. But Stu, as I've said, that is under a little bit of pressure now from Craig Deeks. Just jumping in here to Mr. Poddy Flack, who is right up close to Rob South, trying to make a move on the Honda. Leave the Honda alone, Poddy. It's not done anything to you. Are we going to see a move down into the hairpin? That is a question. He's looking for it. He's looking for it.
He half thought of it.
Yeah, you can see. I think he sort of trailed off the brake and then put it back on again, didn't he? So no move on this occasion. Deeks proper close enough to Stu Neal, putting him under pressure. Stu's going to want to hang on to this position for all the reasons I've just said. So I don't think he's going to make Craig Deacon's life easy, but he's certainly looking to challenge, as are the 2 Serbs out in front of Obradovic ahead of Kerbalisha. They're both going for victory here. Obradovic has led every lap, but it's taken this long for Kerbalisha to get in a position to be able to challenge for the lead, battling his way through the pack in this reverse grid. And at the moment it's still Obradovic out in front, but Kerbalisha is looking particularly feisty and dangerous as they turn into the final corner. He's got car right in the position where he needs to be, Matty, to try and make that move down into turn 1. Yeah,
absolutely. Long straight, heavy braking zone onto the right-hander, and it's going to be the perfect opportunity. Looking at the data, Kerbalisha's got the fastest lap. There we go, and I think it's just going to fall now. He's going to get even quicker now that he's out of that traffic. He was over half a second quicker on his fastest lap than anybody else at the moment, so he's got the pace, as you mentioned earlier on, Mike. He's shown the pace all season long, and has arguably been the quickest driver that we've got. Taking away those few mistakes that he has made.
Indeed, but this is the kind of race 3 that he needed and needs going into next season if he's going to challenge for that championship, which he is more than capable of. But it's just about having a nice clean race 3, getting yourself through the pack without causing incidents. And that's kind of been his downfall. But we are seeing some battling going on behind him now as he stretches his legs. Bradovic under pressure from Neal, who's under pressure from Deacon. And great to see 2 different manufacturers at the front, Aaron, really going for it this time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a bit of a...
It's easier to tell which car is which.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's been a bit of a washout really for Alphas this season, but it is refreshing to see the Volvos in with a chance, and obviously Phil in race 1, kind of unlucky in race 2, but
Phil is right up the back end of Showcase right now.
I did see that. I did see that in the background.
And as we flash to it, he makes the move. Fantastic timing, gentlemen. It's almost like I pay you to do a good job. I don't pay them anything. They're here because they enjoy the pleasure of my company. But yeah, fantastic move from Phil. Great timing, and up he goes into.
This isn't over.
Fifth. It isn't over, but I think he's just got the line and the legs. He does. I tell you what, gentlemen, we keep forgetting through various things to do driver of the day or driver of the race, or if we want to do 3 drivers of the race or driver of the round or whatever. But I tell you what, to get obviously whatever incident he had in turn 1 and be 15th, and then come back to be in 5th position with 2 laps to go, absolutely. Phil Lawson's my driver of this race, that's for damn sure.
Second that.
Yeah.
Second that. He's had a phenomenal race in this race 3, and yeah, I don't think you're going to get too many arguments from us.
Just that recovery, because it's so easy, isn't it, when you get knocked off or you hit the blast and you just like you throw your toys at the pram. I mean, I do it, but to have that recovery, keep himself calm and then battle his way back from the grid, that's super impressive.
Especially when you look at the drivers that he's had to get through. He's had to get past the likes of, well, he must have got past Shaw's at some point, Poddy Flack, Rob South isn't an easy driver to overtake, Showcase. I mean, that move on Showcase was, we caught the back end of it, but it was a wonderful move up the inside, and yeah, cracking job.
I tell you what, Aaron, I'm going to give some kudos to Rob South here, and not just because he's driving the Honda, which is normally my reason for kudos, but he's kept Poddy behind for about 3 laps in a row now, I think. Doing a fantastic job of keeping that Honda in 7th position at the moment.
Yeah, he's done really well. I can't remember when it was in the race, but I saw Poddy run wide and get on the gravel, and Rob went back past, and ever since then, Poddy's been stuck behind him. So, yeah, credit where credit's due. He's resisted it, because as we all know, Poddy's no slouch, and he's a pretty fiery guy when he's fired up, which he will have been after he got wiped out by one of the Volvos. I think it was Borky. So fair play to Rob. He's done a really good job.
Absolutely. And Stu Neal's got past Bradovic now, so he is in 2nd position. Kurbeliger well out in front now, stretched his legs, but Bradovic now under pressure to keep this final podium position from his Volvo teammate Craig Deacon. Let's see who comes out on top. We are on the final lap of the race, the final lap of the night. Kurbeliger 2 seconds out in front now, pretty much got that wrapped up. So the question is, can Deeks get that final? Oh, and Poddy Flack's got past Rob South because we flicked away from the battle. So of course the move happened. Maybe if I flick away from this one, Deeks will get the move done. Who knows?
Well, to be fair, as you say, they go side by side.
Yeah, absolutely. A little wide there from Bradovic, but he just does enough to keep himself ahead. Deeks trying to put pressure on. It's a difficult part of the track. You can't really overtake you. Just got to stay close enough to the car in front and hope for a move and an opportunity out of here. Flat down, get the slipstream and get the move down into the hairpin. Are we going to see that here? No, Deeks not comfortable enough to make a move on the brakes there, but he is comfortable enough to smack the S40 right up the backside and basically push it up the hill the other side.
I was thinking earlier on, you know, Mike, when Shaw's and Bogdan were sort of stuck behind Phil, I was waiting for one of them to bump draft the other past Phil, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering, Deeks making a move around the outside, Bradovic stays strong.
God.
Oh, that was super, super close to being an accident, but fair play to both drivers, they kept it clean, and It's basically going to all come down to this braking zone now. Has Deeks got enough in the tank to brake a little bit later and get the move done? He does get just ahead, but Abramovich has got the inside line now.
Oh.
It'll be Deeks along the outside line for the final corner. Has he got enough speed to keep it around? Has he got enough tyres to go faster around the outside? No, he hasn't. A little bit of door banging again from these two, and it looks like it's so close. They basically got the same time. Deacon.
Oh my God!
Deacon takes the podium. He takes the podium by 0.01 of a second. He takes the podium. What a finish. Absolutely phenomenal finish. So Curb Leisure wins from Stu Neal. Deeks gets the podium. I mean, whether that'll get looked at, I don't know. There was a lot of door banging. I'm not sure if it was fair or unfair. Looked Rubin's racing to me, but you know, I'm in the comments box. What do I know? Abramovich then officially fourth as it stands. Phil Lawson in fifth. Cracking recovery from him. Driver of the race for me, without question. Shoki gained 10 positions, finishes sixth. Poddy Flack seventh. Rob South eighth. George Hughes at ninth in the end. So a great haul of points for Stu Neal over his rival. Alves finishes 10th. Russ Butcher 11th in the end. Rounding out that bit of a recovery after a disastrous start.
One thing to note there, that unless the data is fooling me, George User did not set a single valid lap. As you see there, actually, there's no best lap there for George User.
Not correct.
In the entire race.
Yeah, I suspect he probably had a bit of damage after making contact. And it was pushing quite hard, so between those two things, that probably caused his issues. Let's jump on the Skype part briefly. We'll just see if it's bothered to save any replays this time. It has! Hey! It likes me. It likes me at last. Okay, so a couple of replays then to look through. So this is the first of our replays. This is early in the race. Not sure what's going on. No, that's the last race. Why? What? Where'd that come from? What the hell is this thing doing?
Are you okay, Mike?
I'm okay. I'm just not sure if the system is having a bit of a paddy. Or this is the incident we were just talking about. So yeah, it doesn't appear that there should have been much damage for yours. But yeah, I mean, Russ just got tapped and then tapped again, and
you know how I mentioned in the last incident how he parked it in the middle but kept his foot on the brake so he didn't move. He didn't look like he did that there, did he?
Yeah, I think frustration slightly might have taken over at that point.
Not that I'm slagging him off because he's the boss, so he runs the league. I'm not going to say anything.
He pays the imaginary bills.
Exactly.
He does. This was Kublija going up into third, getting past Deeks. Great move into turn one. A couple of more quick replays just to look through. And then we will get into our driver interviews. So this, I mean, there was so much action at the front, I can't even remember what each one is. But I'm sure we'll find out shortly. So this was, can't even remember. Why did I record this? Something special must have happened. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
That was Phil Lawson's move. Yeah, there we go. So I knew there would have been a reason. I knew there would have been a reason. There always is. I don't do anything without good reason. That's just who I am. Right, and our very last replay before we head over to our driver interviews is, of course, the end of the race. Deeks versus Abramovich. Abramovich was in the final podium position after leading most of the race after starting on reverse grid pole, but Deeks held it around the inside and then outside of the chicane. A little bit of door banging there, but kept his foot in, planted around, and you just see the time just ticking down. The difference was ticking down on my screen, 0.02, 0.01, 0.00, and then all of a sudden he was in the lead. Absolutely fantastic. Gentlemen, over to you for interviews. Yeah.
I stole them all in the last go, so I'll let you go first, Aaron.
Thank you, Matty. I was about to say I'm hijacking you. I'm going to... Third race in the league now, averaging a top 12 finish, so even with the keyboard, still on pretty good pace. As now, do you think you're a little bit used to them? Because I know when we did Bathurst, you hadn't had much race time.
Yeah, it's definitely been a learning curve, but it's a fun car to drive. You just have to add the little, get to the little kinks of it, see how it works, what it does, what its limits are, and I'm getting comfortable with it. As you can see, I'm now like finding my pace, a consistent pace. Thankfully, I was able to find my place in the league. I think P12 is the verdict for all 3 races. So at least I'm happy I'm being consistent and that I'm improving as far as I'm concerned.
Good. How have you managed to figure out the sort of nuances with the car? So there's like a couple of things you can do with brake balance to sort of sending it further back to the car. Have you found any secrets to making yourself go faster?
Well, that's why they're called secrets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found a couple things that have helped me out. There's obviously a couple techniques that I can do, such as trail braking.
Yeah.
So what I do, for example, for trail braking is I don't go very aggressive at the beginning of the braking zone, and then I start tapping faster to slower at the end. So that gives me a little like a bounce on the brake that goes down, and that helps me a little bit. But it's a little hard to learn, as you can see. I think others have commented that my braking zones are just a little weird sometimes because I'm still finding the pace there. But yeah, trail braking is something that is really difficult, and also the slow corners. I think you have also mentioned that a little bit. Trying to find the tapping on the curve does get a little tricky sometimes, and it does make me a little unbalanced. But as soon as the more I get more experience with this car, I think that I'm getting more comfortable with it and a little better at it.
Brilliant. I mean, every time we watch you, you seem to be doing a good job. So you get a kudos from me. We know it's not easy, so well done.
Thank you. And I do want to say, right at the end of this race, I was side by side with someone. I'm not going to comment too much on that, but I do apologize, my dude. I did not expect my wheels to be that worn out. When I just saw the wheel wearing out, I was like, oh, okay, that's why that happened. So my apologies to that person.
Fair enough. That's very kind of you. We like that in TCSRL. Everyone is very apologetic and very friendly, so I'm sure that'll go down really well. Matt, have you got anything to ask?
Thank you. Very quickly, I will quickly ask Sergio a question. Actually, yeah, I've started. I'll start until I finish. With the keyboard and the fact you're tapping away and obviously effectively doing this with the tires whenever you're turning, do you notice that it affects your front tire wear? Like, I don't know if you've spoken to other drivers about where your tires are at compared to theirs.
I actually have not. I haven't seen exactly what the difference is, but yes, I do notice the loss of time. So what I try to do for that is not to make like too much of this, but more like this. So
Yeah.
small tappings instead of like slow, longer tappings helps the tire be a little bit more consistent where it needs to be. But I do feel the difference in the curves. I've actually tried doing it with mouse. Completely hate it, but I do find that it does feel a little bit more flowish. But unfortunately, I do play with a high DPI, so going from that style onto the game, it doesn't really work out because the game just the steering wheel just goes one way very crazily. So that's why, mainly the reason why I don't play with mouse. But I do notice that, and also another thing that I do wanted to mention, which is kind of funny. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but on all 3 races, I've played with 25 kilogram handicap. That is self-imposed because I turn on ABS because, again, trail braking, not a possibility on keyboard. So, it's something I take on. I know it's not going to be easy, but I still manage to be competitive even with that. So I'm very happy with the way that I managed to balance, having a handicap, but shining out on some other parts, which is precision. I think that the only benefit to this is that I don't get tired with my hands. There's no force feedback. My feet don't get tired, so longer stints don't really affect me that much. My fingers do kind of hurt a little bit when I do play longer races, but with these shorter races, 15 minutes, and having breaks in between, it doesn't really affect. So that's a little bit of an advantage that I have on some races. Maybe on the third race, I'm a much fresher driver than the other guys that have been like getting some force feedback and getting a little bit tired.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for that insight. It's always handy to get that insight from a driver that uses a keyboard, which is, like we've said before, incredible. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much. Guys.
Thank you. Very quickly, Deeks, that overtake on the line, that was, I mean, I don't know the exact official timings of it, but it was...
you probably want to watch it back, to be fair. It was very, very good. It started at the chicane and went all the way around to the straight.
We watched that. We watched that.
Right,
okay. It's just difficult because the software puts us effectively down at turn 1 as the drivers are coming over the line, so we couldn't actually see physically how close that was unless we were on board with you. That was phenomenal. Good. Phenomenal overtake, phenomenal side by side driving, and fair play. Like, just how close was it from your perspective?
It was on the last probably 4 or 5 meters, maybe a bumper in front.
Wow, it looked amazing. So you'll be glad to know that that's on the stream. At the end of race 3 for you to watch back. There's a little highlight there for you.
It was good to be sort of following the quick boys and actually managing to keep up, so that was good.
Very well. I'll hand over to Aaron if he's got anything else to add for Deeks or Stu.
Let's have a think.
I've got one for Deeks. Hi, Deeks. Hope you're well, mate.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, good, mate. You seem to build into that. Like, you got quicker as the races went on. Is that a fair assessment? Because you certainly seem to have the pace towards the end then to challenge the big boys, as you say.
Yeah, I've been working all week and working all weekend, so I've not actually... I practised on Monday night, did about 15 laps maybe, and that's all I've done. Ordinarily, I'd practice maybe 2 nights during the week, and I've not been able to do that, so it was sort of clicking the more we went around the circuit.
Yeah, good. Oh, you could tell because you could see your confidence was growing, and it was great to see you being able to challenge. And like I said, we were kind of surprised in quality because we used to seeing you sort of P5, P6, and you did look a little bit further back. But that makes perfect sense. At the end of the day, no seat time. It's difficult.
Yeah, I was
in
practice. If I'd done it in practice, I may have moved up the time I did in practice. So if I'd done that in quali, I might have moved up a bit.
Yeah. Excellent.
Sorry, to jump in there. Is that a similar situation for yourself, Stu? Because I've actually just looked at the results from all 3 races, and coincidentally, you finished. It was Stu Deeks. Like, Deeks, you finished behind Stu in every single one of those races, but obviously in all the races, you both improved and moved further and further up the grid. I don't know if Stu's in the same situation with limited time in the seat this week.
No, I hate the track.
How dare you?
That's the truth. No, I like the Nordschleife, that's good, but I can't stand Nurburgring GP. I've just never been able to be quick at it. I don't know why. In the same issue with the TCRs, I can't get to the high percentage that I can on the other tracks. I just, for some reason, I just can't do it. So I have practiced the same as I'd practice every week, really, the same amount of time, but I've just not been able to go as quick as I'd like. I mean, obviously, I did about as well as I could have done tonight, to be fair, because I didn't have the pace of the others. And I knew, obviously, in the race 3, it was just down to a bit of racecraft to try and get me up the front, but I knew I wasn't going to stay there because I knew Kerbelia was going to be coming through. And that's why I didn't put up much of a fight when he came there, because I thought, if I try and fight him, it's just going to slow us both down. They'll probably end up in 5th or 6th again. So I just let him through, tried to hang on to him, but then, of course, I had Obradovic to go up against next as well. Luckily, I managed to sort of put a move. He made a mistake, and I put a move on him, and he wasn't able to put anything back. So, and then obviously Deeks was on him. So I thought, well, that's those two holding each other up, hopefully, and just give me a bit of clear air, and that was that. But yeah, I did about as well as I could have done tonight. That was about it.
That's fair enough. Like, we didn't really see too much of you in the first 2 races, and then see you up there battling for the podium positions in race 3. It's sort of, I did mention during race 3 that maybe you'd grown into the night where you'd had a couple of quiet races, or we hadn't seen you too much anyway. But yeah, it turns out you just hate what is an absolutely beautiful track. But I won't judge you for it. Don't worry.
That's fine.
I can't say much because, as Mike knows, I absolutely detest driving Spa. And that is arguably one of the best tracks in the world ever. So
it's because you're incapable of taking Eau Rouge, but you know.
Eau Rouge is a son of a gun. I hate it with a passion.
There we
It's
go.
an optional apex Eau Rouge. You can just straight line it. That's the fastest way.
Yeah, it's just a skill issue.
I have a funny story about that, but it would take me like 10 minutes to explain it, so I won't. I'm just going to ask Stu, does he think he can win the championship next week?
No.
Well, you're no fun.
To be perfectly honest, I'd like to say yes, but Shaw's is, I think he's about 13, 14 points clear of me. So the only way I'm going to win it is if he has a really bad night. Do you know what I mean? And it's not very likely on Paul Ricard, I shouldn't imagine, because it's a very big open track. So someone would have to properly take him out, or he'd have to have a really bad night to. Even if I finish behind, do you know what I mean? Just the only way I can beat him is on race 3. Basically, if he has a couple of bad races and then I have a good race 3, that's the only way. But yeah, highly unlikely, I would say.
Very quickly on that, I will try my best. So next week, we don't have Mike. It is going to be me and Aaron. I'm going to be trying to run the stream and comms, and I'm going to try to keep on top of seeing how the championship standings are through the night. So when it comes to race 3, hopefully, if I can keep the maths right, we should know on stream rather than it being off stream waiting for the results to come through officially.
Cool.
So hopefully I'll be able to tell you whether you have or not.
I asked him to cover, and he's going to show me up by doing good maths and everything. This is disgusting.
Do you know what? You say that, I could get it completely wrong and tell the wrong person they're the champion. So it could go very, very badly.
I'm sure that happened in the Oscars or something at some point, didn't it? But there we go. Worst things about it. Right. Excellent. It is time to call it into our stream. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to all of our drivers for not only coming to the Combox, but for giving us the entertainment that we have every week. I will be missing the finale. I'm sad about that. I'm not so sad about where I'll be while I'm missing the finale, because during that actual day I'll be sat at Lake Como eating pizza and drinking a beer.
Very nice.
It doesn't sound too bad at all. I'm on a big European trip all across the south of France, Italy, Alps, finishing, funnily enough, at the Nurburgring. So I'll be driving the Nordschleife about this time next week. So thank you all. Have a fantastic final round. Best of luck to my colleagues in running the stream next week, and we will see you for whatever next season will hold. I'll be back then, but I'll let my colleagues take over for next week. So thank you very much once again for watching, everyone for taking part.